Welcome to our next edition of Financial Mythbusters.
We're busting the myths.
Well, it's really fact or myth,
Yeah, it is fact or myth.
so we'll see which ones are which.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you have curated
I have.
another list
I have.
of common financial statements that become that a lot of people will abide by or listen to when in reality they really shouldn't. And it's the reason that they stay stuck. The reason that they stay stuck.
Yeah, and I've put some in that are kind of close. Like maybe it could go either way. And a couple facts that I think are facts. Maybe you're going to call them myth. I guess it's really up to you.
Watch they end up becoming myths.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you ready again? Yes.
Number 1. Fact or myth? You should buy a house at 9% interest.
You should buy a house at 9% interest. Yeah.
Fact?
Yep.
The people are going to cry.
Why not?
Okay.
Can you actually give me a reason on why you shouldn't?
That's a lot of interest.
It's a lot of interest.
That's almost 10%.
It is. That's good math. That's really
If
good
you
math.
round up, that is 10%.
If you round up.
That's girl math. That's
what's
girl
wrong,
math.
What's wrong with 9% though?
That's just a lot of...
Would you buy a house at 15%?
No.
I would.
Okay.
Would you buy a house at 20%?
No.
Why not?
Would you buy a house at 100%?
Why not? I'm actually being serious
Okay.
here. Why not? Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, 100 seems a little ridiculous, but why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you buy a house at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25%? Well, I think most people buy at 5, so let's call it 10, 15 and up.
Yeah. Yeah, my house is on 7%, 7.5 I think. But
7.5?
yeah, I think it's like 7.5. But
what if I told you mine was 3 flat?
I hate you. That's what I would say. I hate you.
Yeah, no, but why? But why not buy it 12 and 15%?
I
and
think
7 and
at
10
least
and...
me personally, the reason why I say I like 9% is because everybody tells me not to pay 9% for a house. I think it's just what everybody says.
Okay, so let's just put some context.
So I'm a sheeple in this case.
A sheeple.
A sheep people.
Oh,
I'm a sheeple.
Shit, sheep people.
I'm a sheeple.
I'm a sheeple.
Okay, continue.
So the reason that I say that is because I'm not usually focused on price. So price is the cost that you pay and value is actually what you get.
Okay.
So I'm usually focused on value, not price.
Okay.
So let's do 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, let's do your personal house. And scenario 2, let's do a rental investment or a property investment of some sorts. So scenario 1, it's your personal house. You don't think you should pay 9%. Like, would you pay, now that you've been in your house for a little while, and yours is at 7.5,
Yeah.
would you pay 9% for it?
I mean, yeah, because I've lived in it for a while.
See, fact.
Okay.
No, so like, because you're understanding the value of it now,
Yeah.
right?
What it's providing for me. Yeah.
So when you have differing interest rates and differing costs, right? All you have to be able to do to have it make sense is match the value to it. Now, did I ever say go out and overpay for the same property at a higher interest rate? No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So you always want to be finding value at a discount. So if the true value of an item is $100,000, you're going to have to pay 9% for it. But if you pay $85,000 for it, you're up. And as long as you can support that monthly payment, one of 2 things is going to happen. 1, interest rates are going to continue to go up, and you're going to go subconsciously, you're going to go, I did great. What a win. I'm at 7.5%. And I think they've already gone up since you actually bought. So let's just say they're at 8 or 8.5% now. Already you're like, I beat that rate. So that's one of the things that could happen. And the second thing that could happen is that if rates go down, what can you do?
Refi.
You can refi. And a lot of banks have these programs that you can refinance for completely free for the life of the loan now because of what's happening. So that's how they're keeping their business running.
Yeah.
So one of 2 things is going to happen. Rates are going to go up or they're going to go down. If they go up, you won. If they go down, you can still correct it. So there's, in my eyes, there's no reason not to buy a house at 10, 15%. I also love the people that, and this can transition into the property investment scenario too, the second scenario, in which I love the people that are like, I'm going to go out and raise money at 12, 14, 15%, but they won't use a bank at 8%. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, you do know 8 is less than 12, right? Like, man, let's start there. 8 is smaller than 12. You should be able to use a bank. So it just ends up becoming the terms that make sense for the property value. So again, you have to match your cost, your price of what you actually pay, to the actual value of the item that you're paying. So you can even take houses out of this. You could pay 10%. You could pay 15%. People buy things on credit cards all the time. What percentage are those? Ridiculous. They don't even look at it. 27, 30, 35%. Crazy. I don't even know how usury laws go that high.
Yeah.
But yet people will pay that on a credit card, but they won't buy a house at 8, 9, 10%. It doesn't make sense to me.
What would be an example when you think that buying at 9% would be bad? Do not buy at 9%.
Do not buy it.
It might be obvious to you, but yeah.
See, that's actually a tough question for me to answer because it all depends on the value of the item.
Okay, so make up a value of an item. Like, say it's a rental property. When should you not buy a rental property at 9%?
You should not buy a rental property at 9% when your gross return is 7%.
Because you'd be in the hole.
Because you're going to lose 2% per year just before expenses.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, that's why it goes back to understanding the true value of an item. Like if other people are deterred at 9%, 10%, and you have the opportunity to go into a negotiation and go into a seller and let them know, like, hey, I need to get it at this price because interest rates are where they're at, and they drop that price for you, you just acquired value at a discount. So why wouldn't you do that? You have to be able to price it in one way or another, so it's either on your cost up front or it's on the back end through the sale or through you paying the interest.
Okay, so we said fact or myth, and we said you should buy a house at 9% interest. You're saying this is fact.
I think that is a fact. But and as an example, just like money where mouth is, we walked a property today. We have 2 or 3 deals that we're working on right now, and I think the best rate that we have right now that we're working with is 8.5%.
And some people would see that and be like, I would never do that.
Right. And all of these are great deals because all they're looking at is what the cost is. They're not looking at the actual value. They are the same people that go, I'm going to buy that because it's on sale and I'm going to save $10. Like, no, you didn't save $10. You spent 20. What's it actually worth?
Right. Did you actually need that item or did you just buy it because it was on sale and spend the money?
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is why you always say you're like, I'd rather just spend the actual cost of the item if I need it than buy things on sale.
I almost never look at the price of something up front. It's like if you go to the gas station. Do you ever look at the price of gas?
We talk about this all the time. Unless you actually don't have the money in your account to buy gas, I don't understand why people will pull up an app and look at the 3 cents difference between the one here and the one across town. You need the gas anyway. Pull your car into the freaking gas station. Put your card in and pay for the gas. You need it.
This is
yes, because my mother does it. Melissa. She'll pull up the app.
Listen to us, Missy.
Yes, it'll be 15 minutes out of her way to get gas 5 cents cheaper. Which wastes her time. It wastes the gas to get there.
Yeah, you're at a net loss by the time you get to the other place.
She's not in a position where she needs to really save the money. Like
6-figure.
Like I said, if you're like really pinching pennies, like really cannot. I understand. If you like can't even fill your tank, that's one thing. Yeah. But like I just don't look at the price of gas because I need it and it has value to me anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That, and if you have a 3 cent difference somewhere over the course of that entire tank, that's like a 90-cent difference.
Yes.
80
yes.
Cents, like it's nothing usable. So,
yes.
Yeah. It's the start of my compounding.
Right.
But yes, I absolutely think fact on you should buy a house at 9% because it's not the cost that matters. It's the value and correlation that you get with it.
Next, fact or myth. Everyone should have a credit card. This one is mostly said when somebody turns 18. It's always the first thing you should do when you turn 18. This is financial advice all the time that I hear. As soon as you turn 18, you should go get your own credit card and start putting things on your credit card to build your credit. Fact or myth?
I think that's horrible advice.
Okay, so you're saying it's a myth that everyone should have a credit card.
Yeah, I'm going to go myth.
Okay, why?
So credit cards are right up there with 401k. They're the devil.
Okay.
Not because, just like in some cases, people with 401ks do really well, like very small percentage,
Yeah.
Right? They're also far more financially savvy than others. They're not typically your typical person. Credit cards destroy far more people than they help. Now, the argument that I'm going to get, I already hear it. The argument that I'm going to get.
Oh, I'm going to argue with you.
Free points, free money, and you get cash back and all that. You don't become financially wealthy from points.
Oh, I agree with that. I think they're
I
used.
got you.
No, I agree that you won't become wealthy. I'm not saying it should be a tactic to become a millionaire.
Yeah. Okay.
But they work for some people. A credit card works wonders for me. I love a credit card.
So that is where, luckily, the way that it's worded is it's a myth because everybody shouldn't get a credit card.
Okay, I can agree with that.
So everybody shouldn't get a credit card. I do agree that let's just use you and I.
Okay.
This is actually a really good comparison.
Okay.
Because I statistically am a 1% earner, and you can run through all the statistics of it. And I'm like right in that 1%.
Well, did you know that I'm also a 1% earner for my age?
For your age? Yes, you are. Don't forget.
Don't compare us. Don't forget.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that you remember that. That made that. So, as a 1% earner, I don't use credit cards.
Okay, so why don't you use a credit card?
I have one that is active that has an annual. Oh, I might have two that is active, but either way, I don't use them. But they're just annual expenses of like, it's like $50 a year or something like that for them to stay open. The reason I do not use them is that I get myself in trouble with them. There is something internally with me. They're like gift cards to me. It's like, I'm serious. They're like free money.
Actually, you have a track record with credit cards. That's not great.
Yeah, that's how I originally got myself in financial trouble with credit cards.
Yeah.
And then even being a high income earner now and being financially responsible and understanding how the game works and everything, they would still be my biggest struggle if I used them. So when we've used them in business, I've always had to be on top of, like, extreme focused to be on top of it because I could lose track of it. It was very easy it's very easy to let them go. So to me, like, I don't use credit cards because I know me. I'm not a credit card person. But you're great with them.
Yeah, so I use my credit cards. I have two of them. I have a personal one and then a business one.
Yeah.
And I use them to track my spending every month because I feel like it's the easiest way. So I pay them off at the first of every month. I don't let money roll over on them. Like, I'm not going to let my balance roll. So they get paid off every month. There's never, like, I never have late fees or anything like that. Or, like, I don't actually pay, like, the interest on them.
Yeah.
And then I can see how much I paid, like, spent during the month. So it's like a little game for me to see how, like, where I can keep the number, like a fun little, like, oh, I did so good this month. But and then I use the points to my advantage because I travel so much. So my business credit card is like a United one. So I have like 3 or 4 free flights right now. And then on my other one, my personal one, I have like $900 in cash back I can pull out at any time.
Yeah.
And but that works for me. And I stay organized with it. And it's the easiest way for me to pay my bills because I know on the first of every month, I pay all of that off.
So those are awesome bonuses. It's great that you're able to utilize that. And I've utilized those in the past. Don't get me wrong. But when I look at my life, when you continue to add things to your life, when you continue to build your life out, like, it just became an extra step for me.
I think it'll be really good for people to hear you say that because as a millionaire, you saying I can't use credit cards, I struggle with credit cards, it will make people, they're not alone in that because there's so many people who struggle with that. I have friends who are like, I can't have a credit card because I know that I won't be great with them.
Yeah,
and people make them feel stupid. They're like, you need a credit card, you need to build your credit, you're never going to be able to buy a house.
You don't need a credit card for that, but you can become your own bank for that.
Yeah.
But on the credit card front, yeah, a great example is like, oh, you'll never have it. You'll struggle with credit and things will be more expensive then. That's also not true. So I don't have any credit cards, but yet my credit score, which we finally looked up because of our conversation the other day, we're like, what is my credit score? It's like just under 800. So plenty high to get a loan for whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
That makes financial sense. But just on a credit front. So the credit score and having to have credit cards and build the credit. Not everyone should, but if you are responsible in that and organized and structured the way that you are and the benefits that you run, I can totally see why you do though.
I honestly feel we talked about this when I came to you like a month ago and I was like, I need some help with my finances. I feel like a train wreck. And I realized the solution to that was just adding the second credit card so that I could stay organized. I feel much more organized and structured with the credit cards.
Because you have a business and a personal.
Yes, now I have both. Where like before I just felt like my finances, and not chaos, like I was overspending or anything. I just wasn't like,
just weren't 100% sure where everything was going.
Yeah, I didn't know where things were going. I had things coming out at random points in the month, and I just wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So the credit cards helped me a lot with that.
It's amazing how after buying a house that happens.
Yeah.
Things just leave you.
Yeah, you're like, where's all this money going, and what account? Where's it? You know,
what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did everybody have a credit card? No, I think that's a myth. If it would have been worded as some people who are capable and able, that would have been more of a discussion for me, because I do see people use them extremely well. Dustin's an example of that. Dustin, it's so funny. He'll send me videos and text messages of I'm telling $5,000 in Amazon gift cards because they have so many points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or $1,000 to Nike or $1,000 to this or that.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. So all that's amazing. But the other thing is, I think somebody in his position who, multi-million-dollar earner, very financial stable, very responsible with money, understands how it works, responsible in business. Somebody like that, it can be an asset. And I look at you two very similar in that sense.
Yeah.
It's being used as an asset. For me, yeah, I just know I struggle with them, so I don't use them.
Yeah. Okay, so number 2 is a myth.
I'm gonna call it a myth.
All right, moving on. Number 3, fact or myth. Once you have kids, you throw away your own goals and dreams for theirs. So this one we came up with because a lot of the time you'll hear, say, a mom. She has a kid and then she has a goal, and you ask her, why can't you pursue that goal? And she's like, well, I have kids and they have their own goals, so I'm going to pursue theirs for them.
That one makes me sick. Makes me want to throw up.
Okay.
I hate that one. I hate people's excuse for their financial insecurities being, oh, because my kids. It makes me sick. Or the person who's financially successful and goes, it's because they don't have kids. No, you're also an idiot. So the secret to success is kids, in my opinion. They will keep you consistent if you have the right mindset about it. And if you want your kids to have great goals, right, and to have dreams, what's the best way for them to do that?
Exemplify it.
Maybe show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Live it.
Yes.
Experience it. The kid who understands love is not the one who's told about it. He's the one who experiences it.
I've never seen a kid who has bigger goals than Wyatt, bigger ambitions. You told me a story the other day about something he wanted to buy, the whole earth, or what did he want to buy?
He did ask to buy, no, he was going to buy Ohio, and he's like, I'm going to buy the United States. I'm like, that's awesome. Happened once in Louisiana. You can look up that purchase, by the way. You can Google the name of it. So, yeah, the other day he told me he wants to buy, somebody was like, oh, I want to have a small puppy. He's like, I'm going to have a shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that because he's experiencing it. I want them to experience larger dreams and different experiences.
Yeah.
That way they can think different too. Yeah, it's not the person who's told about it. It's the person who experiences it.
So what did kids do for you?
What do they do for me?
Yeah.
They look at me every day and they go, I need to eat today too. That's weird. You ate yesterday. No, it's just so before Wyatt, I would make money. But then I would stop. I was very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So I would get a bunch of money in the bank, and then I would play GTA for 6 months straight, right?
Yeah.
And then until I ran out of money, and then I would go make a bunch of money. So the wall didn't stay behind me. If you put your back against the wall, you're gonna figure out who you are, right?
Yeah.
So whenever my back would be against the wall, I would go out and create and bring value to the marketplace and make a bunch of money. But then that wall would get further away because I got comfortable, and then I would chill for a while. And then I would be on this income roller coaster that is it's actually exhausting. So when we found out we were pregnant with Wyatt, all of that went away.
You're like, oh, I have to feed 3 people now.
Yeah, just naturally and subconsciously completely went away. So kids being the reason for your woes, your financial difficulties, or your lack of dreams or lack of action towards your dreams, to me is completely ridiculous. Right? Because you have the ability to go from struggling paycheck to paycheck or having these issues to working towards stability and then working towards thriving. And they'll get to go along that journey with you. Right? Yeah. They get to experience that journey with you. So they'll become stronger because of it. So that one's ridiculous. That one always makes me want to throw up when I hear people say that.
Okay. So kids, they're not going to ruin your life. They're not going to ruin your dreams. They're not going to ruin your goals.
No, they amplify everything.
Yeah.
So if you're already good, they're going to amplify that.
Yeah, because especially because you wanting to set them up for success is another. It makes you work harder too. Like
Yeah.
it's not just you have to feed them; it's that you want them to do better than you are doing now,
Yeah, any true
which
leader,
would be really good.
yeah, any true leader, whoever they're working with, they want that person to go further than them. That's the meaning of teacher and coach and mentor,
Yeah,
right? That's a leader. The leader wants the person below or behind to catch up and surpass
them.
them. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you advance things forward. The person who doesn't want that, right, is just selfish. That's
Right.
it. They're there for their own ego and they're there for their own words of affirmation and their own pedestal. They're not there to actually move the needle or move people forward.
I feel like this also, in a sense, dips your toe in the idea, like the statement, like you shouldn't live through your kids. Like you shouldn't stop your own life for your kids.
No, living through your kids just means like you have an internal identity issue.
Yeah, because a lot of people will have kids and then they pour their entire life and energy and everything into their kids.
Yeah.
In an like to an unhealthy point.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be like me going to Wyatt and be like, you have to play baseball. Because
Yeah.
you have to go pro because I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to love that. If he so chooses baseball, which he's showing more interest in, which is exciting to me because it's my favorite sport, but he has to choose on his own what he wants. He's his own person. So many people are going to play this game of like, I'm just going to point you in the direction that I wanted. That way I have a better experience. And it's exhausting. I hate seeing that.
What if he comes to you and he's like, Dad, I want to, Dad, I want a 401k.
I want a 401k.
Dad, I want to invest in crypto. Then what?
You know, it's fun.
Then will you condone living through your kids to tell them no?
You know, it's funny. I read him a Bible story last night. It was about the parable of, what's it called? It's the parable with the servants. The parable of, I can't remember the name of it now. But basically the master is leaving.
Sorry, that was our producer coughing.
Yeah, geez, no. Mind your own business. You need a drink, buddy?
No, I'm great.
Doesn't sound like it. I'm leaving this in.
Yeah, 100% leave this in.
Go ahead, continue.
Everybody comment down below what you think of Nolan interrupting everybody.
Rate his cough on a scale from 1 to 10.
I actually want,
If you thought that was entertaining, give this podcast a subscribe and a like.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, continue. The parable.
The parable. So basically the master's leaving for a period of time and he gives all the servants a pound. Oh, it's a parable of the pound. There we go.
You can do this.
I see what I did. So he gives everyone £1, all the servants £1. And when he comes back, he says, hey, I'm summarizing this, but hey, how did you do with the pound? And the first servant says, hey, I invested your pound and now I have 10 pounds. He's like, that's fantastic. You're going to get to rule over 10 cities now. And the second servant is like, I invested as well and I made £5 back. He's like, that's fantastic. You're going to get to you get to rule over 5 cities. And the last one, when he's talking to him, he's like, and how did you do with the pound? He was like, so I put it in this sack or this cloth to protect it because I was afraid I was going to lose it and I wanted to be able to give it back to you. And he orders that servant to give his coin or his pound to the servant who had 10 pounds, who earned 10 pounds, which is exactly what we're doing in life.
Okay.
Because it's all opportunity based. It's all understanding of how to maximize what you have in front of you. So, in reading that to Wyatt, to the 401k, he literally stopped me during this. He said, is this what we're doing with the buildings? Because we just walked an office building together. He said, is this what we're doing? And I said, yes. And he was like, that's why we're going to get more buildings. I was like, exactly. We want to be the servant with 10 pounds. So I bet he will never bring up a 401k to me because he's not experiencing a 401k.
Because you're not living through him and you have your own life and your own business.
Exactly.
And he's observing all of it.
And he gets all the experiences with it and I take them with me.
Wonderful. So we're calling this one a myth.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4. This one's a tough one. This one I have a lot of first-hand experience with this one.
Oh, that's good.
If you love something, you should make it your job or monetize it.
If you love something, you should monetize it.
So like a hobby or something that you do for fun. Like if you love something, you should make it a job. Become an entrepreneur.
No, I don't think so.
Have you ever experienced this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
When?
Well, I should say that I've considered the things that I love wanting to monetize them.
Yeah.
So an example might be like I love video games, so I considered streaming them at one point and like turning that into a line of revenue or like sharing it with people, right?
Yeah.
And the more I thought about it, their lives suck. Like no matter how much money they make, their lives suck. And it's because they are confined to that space, that avenue, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Until they become large enough that it can actually become an asset. Like a lot of people who watch the gaming streams or anything like that, they think like, oh, they're rich or they're wealthy and they're business people and they're entrepreneur. They're actually not. So they are an employer contractor of the actual business. So a lot of times they're just high earning contractors or high earning employees. That's it. High income earners. That's it.
Yeah.
They're not actually business owners. Their merchandising store on Spotify Shopify or Teespring or wherever their merchandising is
Yeah.
more of a business
Then their streaming is.
than their streaming actually is. It's just their streaming makes a lot more once you start to understand that. So no, I don't believe so, for the simple fact that I want you to be able to be passionate and enjoy what you do, especially in business, but it's not necessary. Like you need to be able to do what's necessary. So I like real estate. I like coaching. I like mentorship. I like doing this, right? I like all these things. But you don't have to love you don't find what you love, you develop it.
Yeah.
Right? Like at first, I didn't necessarily love real estate right off the bat as I was getting kicked in the teeth left and right, but I stuck with it and then I developed a love for it or a like for it over time. And then I saw the different benefits of it. And then usually once you improve at something, you get good at something, you don't usually hate too many things that you're good at.
Yeah. It's not common that you're like,
I'm really good at that. I
no.
hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not really a thing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to monetize all of your hobbies and the things that you love, you'll start to find that maybe you don't love that thing anymore when it's dependent upon your revenue or your revenue is dependent upon it.
I agree. I love to travel so much.
You do.
And I tried to, for a while, make my travel like as an influencer. Mm-hmm. And it was like working for a little bit there. And then I was
you
like,
really liked on YouTube. That was like the thing that you liked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if it were like that type of travel, I might like it more. But like maybe not. It wasn't working for me. And it started to feel like a job. For example, one of my friends is a YouTuber. We took a trip for her birthday. Yeah. And she got everything sponsored because she's an influencer. Yeah. And so she got like the hotel sponsored, I think.
And she got like a lot of subs and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a lot of subs.
She does.
She got like hotel and like a couple of our excursions and things like that sponsored, like a few outfits she had to wear, things like that. And it was a really fun trip. Like we really did have fun. But there were like a lot of we came back and she was like, I'll never do that again. And I was like, well, why? And she's like, because I didn't enjoy myself for even 1 second of the trip. I felt like I was working the whole time. There was always content to be produced. There was always a job to be done. And it was my birthday and I couldn't even like really fully enjoy it because we were just working the whole time. And I realized that when I was like, I agree. And I won't do it anymore because I would rather go on the trip, which is what I love. Travel's what I love. I'd rather work. I also love photography, but I'd rather work and then travel and it not be my job. Not everything has to be a job. Not everything has to make you money.
Yeah, I think it's actually healthier if it doesn't.
Yeah. Because at one point I was like, oh, I can make everything make me money. And then everything becomes a job and you're like, why do I feel miserable and burnt out?
Yeah, and everything can make you money, but at what point do you get diminishing returns too?
Yeah.
So like you can be structured in what you do in creating revenue and creating capital and not have to wake up loving it every single day.
Yeah.
It's very possible. Like there's a lot of things in real estate. Like what's a good example? Okay, so like in coaching, I love coaching, right? I love the mentorship, I love teaching, right? Do I love writing PowerPoints?
No. It takes you so long to do it too because you have to drag your feet to get them done. But
no, it's not that. It's a ton of work.
Yeah.
It's a ton of work. Like to be able to take someone from from here to here, point A to point B, like in their business or in their life. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a big responsibility, especially when people are going to invest their hard-earned capital into it. So it has to be really, really good and has to get people results. And what I've learned over the past decade of doing it, like I got better over time as well, is that, yeah, I don't love writing the PowerPoints, but what I really love is when I see the light bulb go off and it changes their life forever. So the pain piece up front is very much worth the comfort that's going to follow.
Yeah. Like some days, I don't really love waiting all day to go to a photo shoot at 7 p.m. Some days I'm
Yeah.
like, wouldn't it be nice to eat dinner with my family or to go out with my friends or to just simply not be working at the odd hour of 7 p.m. for a photo shoot? But then when I return the photos, they're like, first of all, they turn out like sunset photos, and that's my favorite, and I love them. But then somebody else is like, oh my goodness, I love these so much. Thank you so much. It's like, okay, it was worth it.
Yeah.
But some days I don't love it.
Yeah, because you're willing to do what's necessary or required.
Yes, because like I could work during normal hours. I could schedule my photo shoots at 3:00 instead, or 10:00 or noon. But for what I do, it doesn't look nearly as good, the lighting.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to shoot at 7 p.m.
Here's why I'll close this with a definite myth. Here's the other problem that people run into when they're like, I'm going to monetize my hobby and what I love. They're trying to only work when they feel good.
Yes.
Which, by the way, yes, during your hobby, you normally feel good.
Yeah.
But once you turn it into a job and it no longer feels good, you're not going to want to do it. So you have to solve the root problem that you have to be able to develop enough grit to work even when you don't want to for periods of time.
That's why creative struggles so hard. We've talked about this.
Oh, creatives are, you guys, I'm not going to put you in that. I'm not going to put you in that. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're super organized. But, oh, man. Creatives really struggle because they have this wild stallion running inside their head, and this thing's just taking them for a ride, and they don't know how to put structure or walls around their creativity and put a schedule around it. That way they can actually be productive. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, I like to write when I feel a creative, or I like to do this when I feel a creative. Like, you can create that by structuring it into your day for 2 hours during this day at this time. This is the only thing I'm going to do. And if I'm not feeling it at that moment, I'm not allowed to do anything else, and you have to sit in it.
Yeah.
So you start building structures and walls and boundaries around your actual creativity. That way you can actually get better or create progress. So yeah, creatives are extremely difficult to nail down.
Yeah. So we're saying
Absolute myth.
absolute myth. You
Absolute
should not
myth.
make everything you love your job.
You should not. Yeah. Because
Or-
the
yeah.
statement was you should.
You should. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should.
Sorry.
So we're saying that you should not.
Yes. Yeah. We're saying we
make
should.
everything that you love a revenue stream. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. There is no definition to success.
There's no definition to success.
Yeah. So like there's no point at which everybody is successful. Like you have to reach a certain threshold to be
Yeah, because
successful.
success is different to everybody.
Yes.
I would say it's a fact that success is different to everybody.
Okay.
In my opinion. Well, let me ask you first. What's your opinion of success? What's your definition of success? Do you have one?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I don't. There's not a number in my head where I'm like, if I'm making this much a year, I'm successful. It's more of a feeling.
Okay.
Like
So
feel-
mine is based in awareness.
okay.
So my definition of success is that you are aware that you're making the choices that you are each and every day to get the result that you have. If you're aware of that, like if you go to work every single day and you're aware that you're making the choice to go to that work every single day and you have the results that you do, that's
Yeah.
a success in my eyes because you're aware that you're making the choice.
That's a really good definition of success.
Conformity, on the other hand, of like, hey, I'm going to work every day because everyone else does, that's the ultimate failure.
Yeah.
So if you are aware of the decisions that you're making to get the results that you have, I believe that you are a success because you have ownership and you have the ability to change it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you so choose to go to work every single day, be under that authority, and get the results that you have, that's awesome. Like I cap to you. Like I was never able to do that, so that takes a really strong person. I have a ton of respect for that. But if you are that same person who's going to work every day and complaining about it and not realizing that they're making the choice to actually get up and go, failure.
I like that.
That's my definition of success.
That's really good. I guess I meant with this one, there's no number you need to have in your bank account to be successful. There's no job you need to have.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
because if there was that actual definition, everybody would just go for that one definition.
Yeah.
Everybody would go for that one job.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of unsuccessful professional athletes out there. That's a wild
Yeah,
thought.
that's very true.
That's a wild thought. It's everyone's dream, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of unsuccessful, unhappy athletes out there.
There's a lot of unhappy entrepreneurs.
Oh yeah,
Like millionaires.
there's a lot of unhappy billionaires out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And to you, you're like, oh, they're so successful.
yeah. And before everyone goes like, "Oh, he doesn't know any billionaires," how would he know that? I actually know 3. They all happen to be happy though.
I'm one of them.
They all happen to be happy. Those all happen to be happy though. In my experience, but the first billionaire I ever met was Fred Smith because I worked at FedEx.
Who's Fred Smith?
He started FedEx. He's
Okay.
owner, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the first billionaire I ever met, and then I met a couple more after that. But
Yeah. He's happy?
yeah, he really, man, he had a poise and a calmness to him that I had never experienced before until I met him, until I got to shake his hand, because I was still at FedEx at that time.
You're like, I want to be that.
No joke.
Yeah.
Here's what's so funny about that moment. Just as like a little sidebar. Everybody got dressed up and did, you know what I mean? They were like, "Oh, you got to dress nice." And everyone's like suits and ties because they know Fred's coming in. Naturally, I dressed
Like you
Todd.
do?
And
Like he's wearing right now.
yeah, I don't know if it was quite down to this. I think there was a dress code. I think I had like khakis or something on. But either way, he came through and he was the easiest person in the building to speak to. That's when it clicked with me. Like, oh, you don't build anything unless people want to interact with you. That was such a lesson that day, because he came through and he was so easy to talk to and everyone was so crazy nervous and everything. And he was the smoothest, easiest person to speak to in that entire room. There's 600 people in the room.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a big lesson that I got that day. He was the first true billionaire that I ever met.
That's good. So success is going to look different for everybody.
It's going to look different for everybody.
But I really like the awareness thing. I think if everybody lived by that,
If they're just
everybody
aware,
would be way more successful.
Yeah, if they're just aware of what they're doing and the decisions that they're making, and
Yeah.
that they are in control of them.
That's really good. Okay. I have one more for you.
One more.
This one you can kind of take in a few different directions. I'll see where you
Ooh, good.
run with it, Stallion.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah, wild stallion in that. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Fact or myth? You need to niche down your business or skill sets to be successful.
Ooh, so I'm going to take this as specialize.
Okay.
So niche down to me is specialize.
Okay.
Oh no, it depends on the person, it depends on the industry, and it depends on so many things.
Yeah.
So yes and no? Can you say yes and no?
I'll allow it this time because for you, I feel like in like wholesaling and real estate, it would be more yes.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Was if you're going to start somewhere in business, if you can niche down to something that you can focus on and get really good at,
And become the best at that one thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least really good at it,
Yeah.
that people will trust you with it.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start and build momentum.
Yeah.
But when I think about specializing, I like to think about coming from an athletic background, coming from a baseball background. Like I like thinking about the person who, like, say in football, they play both sides of the ball, right? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like Deion Sanders, you know what I mean? Multiple sports, play both sides of the ball. Like that person wasn't like, he's not specialized. He's just a special athlete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think about that type of person, that type of player, especially in business too, because it's funny, once you get good at something and you actually learn the principles of business, what's the first thing that you do? You branch out.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm going to do different types of real estate, and then I'm going to have earned income invest in my real estate.
Yeah.
And then you start branching out and building. So it's really about understanding business principles and understanding yourself. So that's a really good question.
See,
I'm going to go yes, no, fact, myth.
perfect. Okay, awesome. Yeah, because like if we're talking about me, I'm a photographer and I do weddings and seniors, and like I'll dabble in a little bit of families. I really like maternity, so I started doing that recently.
Yeah.
But most photographers, you look like you have so many wedding photographers. There's 1,000,001 wedding photographers that are only wedding. You either have a senior photographer, you have your maternity photographer who's like in a studio, or you have like your birth photographers, or creative or sports. Like Nolan over there, our producer, he's a sports photographer.
Hey, sports guy.
Yeah. And you have like your niche thing, or a concert photographer. Me, I'm like, I love weddings, but I also really like seniors, and I'll do maternities, and I'm successful in my own eyes doing all of those in the place that I'm at in my life right now.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll come a day where I'll only do weddings.
And you've even had your own studio before.
Yeah, I've
So
tried
you've
the
done
studio
some
route.
creative, your selfie
Yeah, I had
What
a
was it
selfie
called?
museum.
The selfie museum was still. Do you want to explain that really quick?
I had a selfie museum, which is basically it's a studio with a million different like setups and backdrops, kind of like all different themes. And so people could pay. It was $20 for an hour per person to come in, and you just get an hour in the studio, and you can take pictures of all of the different setups.
You know, I went under contract on that building to sell it today,
Yeah.
so it's a good day. I tried to sell that building to you for what, 90 grand less than what
I didn't
accepted it?
understand value at the time.
I tried.
You did try.
I tried.
I was just a little girl. I was only 17.
You were not 17. You were not.
Was I not? I was
You were
18
not
maybe.
17.
I was 17 or 18.
You were not 17.
Todd, it was 2020. It's 2023, and I'm 20 right now.
You. First of all, you had to be 18 to lease it from us. So if you're old enough to lease it, you're old enough to buy it. You had your own LLC and everything at that point. Yeah, don't side eye me like that makes a lot of sense, Batman. And
It was 2021.
And you're about to. First of all, it was 21.
I forgot because 20 was COVID.
2020 was.
All right, I was 18.
It was an
I
instant
was 18.
paperweight for a year.
I was 18.
I think you might have been 19.
No, I was 18.
It-
I graduated college or graduated high school that year.
You were about to turn 21
Quiet.
in like
Silence.
5 days.
Silence.
Okay, all right.
I was 18.
All right. I think you were 19, but either way, yes.
I'm sorry. I have a victim complex at this very moment. I'm mad that I didn't buy the building. I will admit it. I am at fault.
Would have been a good one.
It would have been a good one, but I didn't do
Would've been a
it.
good
But I
one.
was 18.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
You just made 90 grand. I understand. Continue.
Well, no, I made more than that, but anyways.
I missed out on 90 grand.
You would have.
Opportunity cost.
Yeah. Yeah, a good example of it, actually.
Continue.
Yeah, so you just explained your selfie.
Yeah, I explained the selfie museum, and we were talking about how I didn't really niche down too far, and I get a lot of side eyes for it. Like, you do everything. I don't do everything. There's things I don't do. Like, I don't do newborns. I refuse. There's no newborns. But like,
You know what's interesting about you not niching down to the point of like you only do one thing in photography is it's really a measure of your value, which is what we talked about at the very beginning. Like, to bring this full circle, like you have a true value that you have some diversity. You have a skill set that's able to branch out and be a few different, what would you call it, focuses?
yeah,
You can have a
you
few
niches.
Yeah, you can have a few different focuses or niches. Like,
Yeah.
I think that comes down to your work ethic too. You continue to get better every single day.
Yeah,
If you are, by your definition of success now, aware of the actions that you're taking every single day to get the results that you have, you're doing that. That's why you have more opportunity.
I think a lot of people they bring up the saying like just jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, oh, man, that could have been a factor myth.
Yeah, that could have been this one.
Yeah, that really could
that's
have
what
been.
this is. It's just jack of all trades or master of none. But I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think so either, because I know your father, and he's a master of like 97 different things in real estate.
He is the jack of all trades, and he is the master of
He is
all of them.
He's unbelievable at all of them.
Yeah, my dad,
Yeah.
if you could literally hand him the materials for a house and he would build it from the bottom up. It's actually unbelievable. Like electric, plumbing, the
mechanics,
the
the layout,
everything.
the
We don't know
construction.
houses like that, but yeah.
I was about to say,
We don't know because we're not him.
Yeah, we only invest in them. I don't know anything about real estate. I'll say, how does this work? Like the house I walked with him today. How do you fix that?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. He's the guy that you give a toothpick, a paper clip, and a piece of chewed bubble gum, and he builds you a mini mall. And you're like, how'd you do that?
Like, yeah, exactly. So he's not the master of any. He didn't go to school for electric. Like, he's not an
You
electrician.
didn't go to school for any of it.
No, he didn't go to school for anything.
Yeah,
I didn't go to school for photography.
I know. You're too busy building it on your own.
Yeah,
Yep. So we had some facts and some myths there for everybody.
we did.
Those were good. I liked those. I liked those better than the first ones, I think.
Thank you. I'll take a bow next to the Reddit stories that are killing it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, people really like the Reddit stories.
I'm getting good at this podcast thing.
Yeah, see, like that's another thing is we weren't very good at it at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? And I like to think that we're getting better. You
Yeah.
guys can tell us in the comments below if you're still sticking around.
If you think we're bad,
if you're part of
don't
the
tell me.
if you're part of the 20% retention, that's all the way at the end of this video, right? On average, put a comment down below and let us know if we're getting better or not, because it would actually mean a lot to know.
I want to know who that 20% is. So if you're part of that 20%, tell me.
Yeah, and actually tell us who you are. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I want to know.
I like that. I like that thought as well.
Because they're here right now. They're watching to this point.
I know.
So.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So statistically, we have about 20% at the very end of each video. An hour in.
I want your name.
What's your name?
I want your government name and your address.
Yeah,
Social security number.
stool sample, blood type. So,
Okay. I think we did it.
yep, we did
This
it
has
again.
been real. Myths busted.
Oh, please end with that. Yeah.